Hello everyone, welcome to Shiwam's classes. In today's lecture, we are going to discuss problem number 14, 15, 16 of chapter 3 and exercise 3.3. We have already discussed problem number 1 to 13 in previous lectures and you can watch those videos which are given in my playlist. Now in today's video, we'll start with the problem number 14, but as usual, first we'll start with the concept first and then try to solve the problem, right? So let's try to understand the problem here. So there is something given on the left hand side and there is something given on the right hand side. So we have to prove what is on the left hand side is equal to the right hand side. Now before jumping into the solution, let's try to understand what is given on the left hand side and is there any clue which we get from the right hand side. So when you look at the left hand side, you see sin 4x over here, and then also you see there is there's a 2 multiplied here. So this is one thing which we need to observe. And then on the right hand side, you also can see that there is a sin 4x over here, right? So looks like sin 4x has to be retained in while we are trying to calculate whatever we are trying to calculate. All right. And moreover, we need to remember some formulas. So for example, we need to remember what is my sin c plus sin d. Alright, so this will be nothing but your 2 of sin c plus d by 2 into cos of c minus d by 2, and if it is sin c minus d, just remember, then it is gonna be your 2 of cos c plus d by 2 into sin c minus d by 2. Alright, so now once we have understood some formulas, why did we do that? Because we can see some sign over here. There is nothing like sin or cos, and then if I am assuming this to be 2x to be c and this 6x to be d, then there is something which is appearing over here. So that is why I had to remember the formula, this formula. Alright, so now let's start with the exercise, and let's start with this problem first. Alright, so I'm just putting a line over here so that we can separate it out. So let me take my left hand side. My left hand side is having sin 2x plus 2 sin 4x plus sin 6x. Alright, now as I said, there is a 2 hanging in over here. So we'll just keep it aside and then try to work with something which is already there. And why do we do it is because also you see that, see, if I know this is 2x to be my, if let's assume 2x equals to c and 6x equals to d, then what we can see, c plus d by 2 will be 4x, right? C plus d by 2, what will be my c plus d by 2? You can see this will be 8x by 2, which is nothing but 4x. So I am getting some expression with sin 4x, right? And that is why I want to club this and this together. Alright, so let's club this together and then try to work with this. Sin 2x plus sin 6x plus 2 sin 4x. Alright, so let's see on the next step. Sin 2x plus sin 6x, going by this formula, it will be 2 times sin of 2x plus 6x by 2 into cos of 2x minus 6x by 2, and then again plus 2 sin 4x, right? Now what we are left with here is 2 of sin of 4x, it's 8x by 2, this is nothing but 4x, and this is what cos of minus 4x by 2, which is cos of minus 2x. So let's write cos of minus 2x, and then we have 2 of sin 4x. What if I take out 2 sin 4x as common? So I took out sin 4x as common, and cos of minus 2x would be nothing but cos 2x, right? And cos 2x plus 1. So we also know, right, cos 2x is what? Cos 2x is nothing but 2 cos square x minus 1. So 1 plus cos 2x would be what? It will be nothing but 2 cos square x, right? So let's put that back over here, and then we'll get 2 of sin of 4x into 2 of cos square x, which is nothing but 4 of cos square x into sin x, sin 4x, right? So we multiplied 2 by 2, and then we got 4, and then cos square x I put in the beginning, and then sin 4x, which is what we had to prove on the right hand side. So again, just looking back at the question, we have to see that how do you reduce this expression to something which we want to prove on the right hand side. So I could have actually taken sin 2x and then worked with sin 4x. I could have just made 2 sin 4x as 1 sin 4x plus sin 4x, right? But that wouldn't have solved my problem probably, and it would have made it complicated. Then we'll have to solve the right hand side and then come to the same thing, right? You can do it either way, but this way it is much simpler. So what I'm saying, in the other way of doing it, let's look at that as well, so that there is no confusion. All right, so what I'm saying is, see, instead of this way, alternative method is alternative, right? Alternative method. What is the alternative? So I could have written sin 2x, and instead of 2 sin 4x I could have written 1 sin 4x over here, and plus another sin 4x over here, and then plus sin 6x, and again use sin c plus sin d formula separately, right? So let's see what this expression would become. So this will become 2 of sin 2x plus 4x by 2 into cos of 2x minus 4x by 2, and this will become plus 2 of sin of 4x plus 6x by 2 into cos of 4x minus 6x by 2. Alright, so further down it would have become 2 of sin of 2x plus 4x by 2 is sin 3x into 2x minus 4x by 2 is cos of minus x, and this would have become 2 of sin of 5x into cos of again of minus x. So we would have to take again 2 of cos of minus x common, and would have left with sin of 3x plus sin of 5x. Alright, now I can write 2 of cos of minus x is 2 cos x. Now again this sin c plus sin d I could have written as 2 into sin of 3x plus 5x by 2 into cos of 3x minus 5x by 2. Alright, so now we are left with 4 of cos of x. I took out 2 outside, and this is like sin of 3x plus 5x by 2 is sin of 4x into cos of 3x minus 5x again cos of minus x. Alright, now in this next step we are left with 4 of cos square x, because cos of minus x is again cos x into sin of 4x. Alright, so in the other way around as well, you could have come to the same solution. It's just that by observation you could have just reduced its problem into a much simpler problem, right? So in this case you had to do it this thing twice, wherein you could have done it in one step itself, right? So I'm not saying the other was very difficult, but it's just that you can just observe what is that you need to prove on the right hand side and then work with the problem. Alright, let's move on to the next problem. What is my next problem? So my next problem is saying cot of 4x and then sin, there is a bracket, and sin of 5x plus sin of 3x is equal to cot of x into sin of 5x minus sin of 3x. So now again working with this kind of a problem wherein you have a complicated equation on the left hand side and a complicated one on the right hand side, the easier approach is to solve left hand side and right hand side separately and bring it to some stage, and then make sure that left hand side is equal to right hand side. So let's try to understand what do we do in this what do we do in such cases, right? So let's see. So what I'll do is I will solve left hand side first. The left hand side is cot of 4x sine of 5x plus sine of 3x, right? We just said cot of 4x into sine of c plus sine of d is nothing but 2 into sine of c plus d by 2, 5x plus 3x by 2 into cos of 5x minus 3x by 2. Alright, now this is cot of 4x into 2 of sine of, this is 5x plus 3x by 2, which is 8x by 2, which is nothing but 4x, into cos of 5x minus 3x by 2, which is 2x by 2, which is cosec. Now can I write cot 4x as cos of 4x divided by sine of 4x, and can I write 2 of sine 4x as such and into cosec, and now can I cancel this or this. So now on this side we are left with 2 of cosec into cos of 4x, right? And we'll leave this expression like this. Alright, and then we'll work with the right hand side. So what is my right hand side? Well, my right hand side is Cotx into sine of 5x minus sine of 3x. So my cot of x is cot of x, and this is my sin c minus sin d. So I had written the formula sin c minus sin d, then this formula is 2 of cos c plus d by 2. This is cos of 5x plus 3x by 2 into sine of 5x minus 3x by 2. Alright, so now this is Cotx, and this is 2 of cos of 5x plus 3x by 2 is nothing but 8x by 2, which is nothing but 4x, and this is 5x minus 3x by 2, which is 2x by 2, which is nothing but sin x. Now can I write Cotx as cos x by sin x and bring this sin x over here, and then write 2 cos 4x. Can I also cancel this cos x, sin x, sin x? So now we are left with 2 of cos x into cos of 4x. So by comparing left hand and right hand side, can I write LHS equals to, right? So here left hand side is equals to right hand side. So you see in this problem, I could see on the left hand side also there is something very complicated. On the right hand side also there is something very complicated. So in such scenarios you should try to reduce it into much manageable form, which is like this, 2 cos x into cos 4x, and work with the right hand side and also try to reduce it to a much manageable form, right? You can compare this with the previous example wherein you see on the left hand side there is something little complicated, but rather on the right hand side there is some multiplication which is not looking so complicated. So we just work with the left hand side, while in this problem we have to work with the left hand side and the right hand side both. Alright, yeah, now let's move on to the next problem. So my next problem is this. It's saying cos of 9x minus cos of 5x divided by sin of 17x minus sin of 3x. So here on the left hand side it's much more complicated than right hand side. So let's work with the left hand side and see where do we land. So let's work with the left hand side first. Let's write LHS. What is my LHS? Cos of 9x minus cos of 5x divided by sin of 17x minus sin of 3x. In such a scenario, what we should do is we just use the formula. This is cos c minus cos t, which is nothing but 2 of sine of, so this will be minus 2 of sine of c plus d by 2, so 9x plus 5x by 2, so 9x plus 5x by 2 into sine of c minus d by 2, which is 9x minus 5x by 2. Now this is sin c minus sin d. So again the formula for this is 2 of cos of 17x plus 3x by 2 sin c cos c plus d by 2 into sin of c minus d by 2 17x minus 3x by 2. Alright, now we can cancel out 2 and 2, and so 9x plus 5x by 2, 9 5 14 by 2 is 7x, so this will be sin of 7x when negative remains here into sin of 9x minus 5x, 9x minus 5x is 4x, 4x by 2 is 2x, so sin of 2x divided by, this is cos of 17 plus 3 is 20, 20 by 2 is 10, so cos of 10x into 17 minus 3 is 14, 14 by 2 is 7, so sin of 7x. So sin of 7x, 7x it gets cancelled out, so we are left with minus of sin of 2x divided by cos of 10x, which is what we had to prove on the right hand side. So this is a much simpler problem wherein you had to just apply the formula. When you see some expression like cos C minus cos D or sin C minus sin D, you try to work with them rather than working from the right hand side, wherein you had to convert sin 2x into this, which was much more difficult than converting left hand side to the right hand side. Alright, hope the concepts are clear. If you have any questions, please ask me in the comment section below and I'll be happy to answer. Thank you for watching this video.